Hello students, welcome to Dr. Deepa Dake's NEET Biology, and in today's session we study about enzymes from biomolecule chapter of class 11th. Enzymes, what are enzymes? So you remember enzymes are the proteinaceous molecule. All the enzymes are made up of protein, but only you remember ribozyme. Ribozyme is exception for all the enzyme because ribozymes are the enzymes which are made up of nucleic acids. So this part you remember. Otherwise, whenever you study about enzyme means they are the molecules of protein. And when we study about protein in our last sessions, so the protein show primary, secondary and tertiary as well as quaternary structure. Similarly, enzymes also show the primary, secondary and tertiary structure. In tertiary structures of protein, some foldings or you can say pockets are present, and those pockets of tertiary structure of proteins or you can say enzymes are called active sites. Now what is the role of this active site? Active site means the site of the enzyme which are available for the binding site of the substrate, because you all are knowing enzymes are commonly called as biocatalysts and they increases or decreases the rate of reaction. In biological system, most of the time enzymes are responsible to increase the rate of metabolic reaction, and whenever any metabolic reaction is take place, so enzyme is activating on particular substrate. Substrate may be starch for salivary amylase, protein molecules for the proteases, or the fats and lipids for the lipases, as you study in chapter digestion. So the substrate bind with enzymes at particular site. Those sites are called as active site. For objective purpose, you remember these active sites are only present in the tertiary structure of the protein, and these tertiary structures show some pockets or foldings. Now when we come towards the enzymes, so first we come towards the structure of enzyme. So every enzyme means the active form of enzyme. Active form of enzyme is called as holoenzyme. And when metabolic reactions are not take place, at that time these enzymes are remain in inactive state or pro state, that is called prorenine, prothrombin you study. So prorenine means the inactive form of the enzyme. So here you remember the active form of enzyme is called as holoenzyme, and these enzymes you remember predominantly made up of two parts. One is called as proteinaceous part and the second part of enzyme is non-proteinaceous part. This you remember very well and remember in chart form only. Non-proteinaceous part. Proteinaceous part of enzyme is called apoenzyme and non-proteinaceous part commonly called as cofactor. Now cofactor you remember either the cofactors are organic molecules or the cofactors are metallic ions. If you go through the NCERT, so NCERT states that there are three types of cofactor: prosthetic group, coenzyme and metal ion. Prosthetic group and coenzyme, both you remember, both are organic molecules. So organic molecule cofactor is made up of organic molecule or it is made up of metal ions. Organic molecule, you remember, present in two forms or of two types. One is called as prosthetic group. So what is the difference between prosthetic group as well as one another term we use, that is coenzyme. So mainly you remember here, when the organic molecule is tightly or permanently bind with this apoenzyme, then that is called as prosthetic group. So prosthetic groups are organic molecule or they are the cofactors which are tightly bound with the apoenzyme. But when we come towards coenzyme, so coenzyme, you remember, coenzyme are transient structure because they loosely bind with apoenzyme, and only during the metabolic reaction these coenzyme binds with apoenzyme and they will convert the apoenzyme into holoenzyme. Once the reaction is completed, this coenzyme get dissociate from the apoenzyme and both again comes in inactive state. This you remember very well. For coenzyme, repeatedly one question is asked that niacin is a coenzyme. So niacin is a vitamin and niacin as a vitamin used as a coenzyme for NAD and NADP. So that part you remember. Number of enzyme prosthetic, example of prosthetic groups are there. For all the example purpose, you strictly go through the NCERT. So this part you remember, that basic conceptual part for what is the exact structure of the enzyme. When we come towards the metal ion, so number of metallic ion, when you come towards the chapter respiration, photosynthesis, so number of reaction for the ATP synthesis, we most of the time show magnesium ions are required. In oxidation reduction reactions, ferrous ions are required. So what is these ions? These ions are also required for the activity of the apoenzyme. And when metal ions are required for the activity of enzymes, in that condition you remember that cofactor is commonly हम कह रहे हैं कि cofactor is present in the form of metallic ion. Metallic ion only, again similar to coenzyme, these metallic ions also loosely bind with the apoenzyme. In digestive system, when metallic ions are required for the activity of enzyme, then one term is regularly used for those activators, that is called as zymogen activators. So zymogen activator also you remember, zymogen activators are also the metallic ions, but these activators predominantly required to activate the enzymes of the digestive system. Now we come towards when we study, so I think it is clear to all, then how the enzymes are participate in enzyme catalyzed reaction. So here we study about the general structure of or general pathway of enzyme catalyzed reaction. When we study about enzyme catalyzed reaction, so here you remember the enzyme is react with any of the substrate and responsible for the formation of enzyme substrate complex. This enzyme substrate complex, when achieve the sufficient amount of activation energy, then this enzyme substrate complex become convert into product, and at the end of reaction enzyme remain in its original state. Therefore we say a very small amount of enzymes are required to complete or to convert the substrate into product, and for this Number of enzymatic reactions are provided in NCERT. One of the most important reaction is that the carbon dioxide inside the body tissue, when combines with water, then it responsible for the formation of carbonic acid. The similar reaction is take place inside the RBC. In RBC, one enzyme is present that is called as carbonic anhydrase, and this carbonic anhydrase multiple times increases the formation of H2CO3 by CO2 and water. If the enzyme is absent, then in very long duration or in very long time, only the 200 molecules of carbonic acids are formed or dissociate. But if small amount of carbonic anhydrase is present inside the RBC, in that condition, the nearly 6 lakhs molecule of carbonic acid or H2CO3 become dissociate or form within a fraction of second. So this is the main importance, that increases the 10 to 100 time increases the rate of reaction, and that's why in biological system enzymes are required. So that an example you very well prepared and mark, underline for your competitive exams, that how does the carbonic anhydrase play significant role when inside the RBC for the formation of H2CO3 as well as the dissociation of H2CO3. Now here the formation of enzyme substrate complex is take place in both the direction. Why the reversible reaction is this? Because the formation of enzyme substrate complex and its breakdown into product and again enzyme is totally dependent on the activation energy. So when you go through the NCERT, one graph is provided there, and this graph stated that when the enzyme initial condition, when the enzyme bind with substrate, and if the enzyme is available in system, then it will convert into product, and again substrate will convert into product, and a very small amount of activation energy is required. But if in given system if enzyme is absent, in that condition you remember the huge amount of activation energy is required. So the value of activation energy, you remember, activation energy means the energy which required to convert the substrate into product. This state of the enzyme where the ES is formed, and the system decide whether the ES convert into product or ES further break down into enzyme and substrate. This state of the reaction is called as transition state, and the transition state has equal possibility of the breakdown of ES into product or the breakdown of ES into enzyme plus substrate. When will it become convert into product? When the sufficient amount of activation energy is available, and very less amount of activation energy is required when the enzyme is present in system. So this graph you remember very well, because sometimes the questions are asking us on the basis of this graph. So mainly this graph is explaining the demand of activation energy and the role of the enzyme. So that part you remember, and because of that only here we use the reversible direction reactions we show in reversible direction. If activation energy is available, enzymes are present, then this enzyme substrate complex convert into product. Otherwise it again break down, substrate get isolate from enzyme, again it bind with enzyme and try for the activation energy. When sufficient activation energy available, then only the substrate will break into the product. When we at here we study about the active site, so diagrammatically only you remember This is the enzyme, and in this enzyme some special pockets are present. These pockets are available for the substrate. So here you remember, suppose this is the substrate and this is enzyme. This substrate is properly fixed into these binding sites and it will result in the formation of enzyme substrate complex. When activation energy is achieved or available, then the enzyme again comes in its original state or original form, and secondly the substrate become convert into the product. Substrate may be any. In nitrogen fixation process, biological fixation of nitrogen when you studied, so you say the nitrogen, one molecule of nitrogen activated by nitrogenase enzyme, and it will convert into the two molecules of ammonia. Starch when breakdown or activated by salivary amylase, so it get breakdown into maltose and isomaltose. Sucrose activated by sucrase and broken down into the one molecule of glucose and one molecule of fructose. So number of enzymes and number of examples are there in biological system. So in simple way you remember that how does the substrate bind at the active site, and it will responsible for the formation of product. Now we come towards the classification of enzyme. So now here we study about classification of enzymes. When we study about the classification, so number of systems of classification are available, but according to NCERT strictly we follow, and the recent system of classification as well as universally accepted system of classification for enzyme is mainly based on the nature of reaction, that what kind of reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme. On the basis of that, we divided the enzymes broadly into 6 classes. The first class of the enzyme is oxidoreductase. Oxidoreductase means the enzymes, now it is also called as dehydrogenase. So the enzyme which responsible for oxidation as well as reduction reactions, those enzymes are placed under this category, and commonly they are called as oxidoreductase enzyme. Oxidases and reductase, two enzymes are included under this category. The second kind of enzymes or the second class of enzyme you remember is commonly we use, that is isomerase, the enzyme which predominantly responsible for isomeric reaction. Those enzymes are called as isomerase. The third class of enzyme is hydrolase, the enzyme responsible for hydrolysis reaction. So this is the one category of enzyme, that is the hydrolases. Similar to hydrolases, the another category of enzyme is present or class is present, that is called as lyases. Lyases and hydrolases, you remember, both are responsible for breaking down of long molecules into small, and the lyases, hydrolases use the water molecule, but lyases you remember, lyases never use the water molecule. Without using water molecule, lyases are responsible for breaking down of the bonds. So lyases you remember responsible for breaking of large molecule into small. Next, the fifth category we study. The fifth class of enzyme is ligase. Ligase, you remember, comes under the synthetic category of enzyme, and it responsible for, mainly you remember ligase. Ligase is responsible for sealing gap between fragments of nucleic acid. So this part you remember, and in addition to that, one another category, number of categories according to that, one another category is there, that enzyme which responsible for the digestion, that is nucleases. Nucleases, you remember, nucleases are the enzyme which responsible for the digestion of nucleic acid, that is DNA and RNA. So these are the major categories of enzyme, that oxidoreductase, isomerase, hydrolases, lyases, ligase, nucleases. In NCERT, instead of nucleases, one another category is provided, that is transferase. Transferase, all these things you all studied also in chemistry. So here you remember, transferase means the enzymes which are involved in group transferring activity. Those enzymes are commonly called as transferase. So in very short we revise this enzyme. The number of examples are there when we come towards or study about the human physiology. In human physiology we regularly use the different classes of these enzymes, and ligases and nucleases only we used in class 12th when we study about the synthesis of DNA and RNA. So this much you remember for the classification of enzyme. Then we study how the enzyme catalyzed reactions are affected, or what are the factors which responsible for the enzyme catalyzed reaction. When you study about the factor, so you remember one value we study for the requirement of enzyme concentration, that value is called as Km value. So every enzyme, you remember, every enzyme has its specific Km value, and it indicates that the how much amount of enzyme or how much concentration of enzyme is required to fulfill that particular reaction or to convert the substrate into product. And when we study about the Km value, at that time we also study about the factors affecting reactions, that is enzyme catalyzed reaction. When we study about the factors affecting enzyme catalyzed reaction, most important factor you remember, temperature. Temperature, all enzymes are temperature specific, and the maximum enzymatic activity is appear in between 25 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius. Beyond 35, that is normally we say beyond 40 degrees Celsius or centigrade, you remember, the protein, actually enzymes are made up of protein, and at high temperature proteins start degradation, that means the peptide bonds of the protein start to broken down, and that's why you remember the maximum activity of the enzyme is appear in between 25 degree to 35 degrees Celsius. Beyond 40 degree enzyme become deactivated. Second, you remember, second is pH. So for pH also you remember the different enzymes we appear in biological system. So enzymes are pH specific. This you remember. Some graphs are provided here. So in NCERT, so you go through those graphs. generally the graphs are indicating that how the temperature and pH. So up to the limit, the rate of reaction is increases. Suppose we come towards the graph for temperature. So this kind of graph is provided here. That means up to a specific range, rate of reaction is increases. But when the limit is processed, temperature is increases beyond 40 degrees Celsius, then instead of increase in product formation, the product formation droop down because the enzyme lost their identity. Similarly, enzymes are pH specific. Salivary amylase, as you appear, the salivary amylase is working only at slightly acidic pH, that is 6.8. The enzymes which are activate in stomach, they are highly acidic, activate at highly acidic pH, and that's why in our stomach the pH is very low or acidic pH. The lipase enzyme is activate on alkaline pH. So bile juices you commonly appear, pancreatic juices are alkaline in nature because the lipases are only activated when the pH is alkaline, that is 8.2 to 8.4 pH. So number of enzymes you study in biological system which are only activate at a particular pH. So for that you remember one statement that enzymes are pH specific. And third is substrate concentration. So substrate concentration, as such you remember the substrate concentration up to a specific limit increases the rate of enzyme catalyzed reaction, because we say a very small amount of enzyme is required. Suppose you have 100 ml of substrate and 10 ml of enzymes. So now whatever amount of substrate you increase, but at a time only 10 ml of substrate bind with 10 ml of enzyme, and every time the 10 ml of substrate only convert into the product. So whatever amount of substrate we increases, it never affect the rate of enzyme catalyzed reaction. Up to a specific limit, substrate also required for initiation of the reaction. Once the enzyme's active sites are saturated by substrate, then though we increases the amount of substrate, but the rate of reaction is constant because the very less amount of enzymes are required for the reaction. So this much you remember for the enzyme topic in under the biomolecule section. Inhibitors are also provided in NCERT. So inhibitor means, simply you remember, the molecules which are structurally similar with substrate but it is not a substrate, and instead of substrate, when that molecule bind with enzyme and occupy the binding site of substrate, then the automatically enzyme catalyzed reactions are stopped. So inhibitor means, simply you remember, the molecule which decreases the rate of enzyme catalyzed reaction or inhibit the enzyme catalyzed reaction. Those molecules are called as inhibitors. Inhibitors may be reversible or they may be irreversible. Reversible inhibitor means if we increases the concentration of substrate, so the effect of inhibitor automatically decreases. But irreversible inhibitors, once they bind with the enzymes, their effect never will replace and they always stop the enzyme catalyzed reaction. That means the product formation is completely stopped. So this much you remember for the enzymes, and with this we complete our cell, the third unit of the class 11, and from next session we will begin with the next unit, that is plant physiology. So stay connected with my channel, and the students who are new for the session, they kindly go through the previous videos, and if you like the content, in that case kindly subscribe my video, subscribe my channel, like my videos and share my videos. And up to next session, stay motivated, work hard and stay blessed.